Welcome to Arts for You, the podcast where creativity meets purpose and the arts come alive in everyday life. I'm Dr. Ben Loswood, musicologist, pianist, artist, and passionate educator. Each week on Arts for You, we dive into the power of the arts to inspire, heal, and educate. From heartfelt stories to expert insights, you will hear from students, teachers, and creative professionals who reveal how music, dance, drama, and visual arts are reshaping classrooms, boosting mental well-being, and building essential life skills. So, whether you are a student discovering your creative spark, a future teacher ready to make a difference, or a parent curious about the impact of the arts, this podcast is your space. Because the arts aren't just what we do, they are how we grow. Today, we are stepping into the world of drama. Not the kind that happens in a school hallway, but the kind that takes center stage and lights up the imagination. We'll talk about how drama helps students express emotions, build empathy, sharpen their minds, and grow in confidence. Joining me today is someone who knows the power of performance firsthand, drama educator Carmelina Allegretti. Hi, Carmelina. Thanks for joining us. Can you tell us a little about your background in drama and what drew you to this art form?
Hi, Susanna. Thank you for having me on the show with you. Yes, I've been an educator for over 18 years, and drama was a big aspect in my teaching and helping kids coming out of their shell. So I really try to inspire kids to explore this part of their educational learning to help them build that express emotion and build empathy like you mentioned and also grow in confidence. So we can talk about that a little bit deeper throughout the podcast, but basically this drew me to use this kind of art form with kids because I saw the positive effects that it had on their confidence level.
That's wonderful. Let's begin with the emotional impact. Drama gives kids a powerful outlet to express emotions, especially when they don't have the words. I've seen students who struggle with anxiety or low self esteem come alive when they step into a role. It's like the stage gives them permission to feel and to be heard. And I have to say, technology helps. Using microphones and stage lighting allows students to more easily inhabit a character compared to Shakespearean times when everything had to be projected theatrically without amplification. Today, even quiet or shy voices can carry power and meaning. Carmelina, how have you seen drama help students explore their emotions in a safe, creative way?
Well, Suzanne, I'll tell you a little experience I had. It was actually my first few years of teaching. I had a student that I was teaching FSL, French as a second language, and I had a student that would not participate in the class at all. Very shy. I couldn't get anything out of him. He felt awkward. It was very difficult, and I thought, what can I do to help him, to make him come out of his shell? So I asked him to come and see me in my office. And we talked, and I said he was more than, he was more than willing to come to my office and just talk one on one. And I said, you can present to me, just to me alone, if that makes you feel more comfortable. And I don't know what possessed me, but I thought, I was at the dollar store one day and I thought, oh, wow, look at this. This is cool. They had these puppets, this hand stitched puppets, and I thought, let me pick up a few and maybe he can, express his emotion and creativity through puppetry. So I talked to him about it and he says, yes, I'd like to do that. So I said, in front of me or just the class? And what happened was he he wanted to do in front of the class, but he didn't want the class to see him. So what I did is I built this sort of like with cardboard boxes, and I got sort of like a tablecloth to put across. I just used whatever I had at home, brought it in, just so that I was so excited that he actually wanted to present in front of the class. So he bent down on his knees and he had his hands up with the puppets that he selected from what I had purchased, and he did his presentation. Can I tell you that this whole new person came out? This whole like voice, new personality, boastful, his expression. And I was in the back of the class listening to him, and I thought, oh my God, what just happened? This whole new person just transformed in a different way of expressing himself through the use of puppets. And when a person does that, I realized like, wow, he became a whole different person through the whole role play. His experience of different emotions, building his self-confidence, learning about, expressing his voice, intonation of his voice through drama. And I was just at awe, and I thought, what a great way. And I think that's where it sparked me to say, wow, what a great way to inspire kids who are really shy and intimidated. So that's when I started to build drama into my program more than ever. And a great way of actually learning empathy, because I know you mentioned about this, if you get people like actors like Julia Roberts, who played in Erin Brockovich, actors actually have to learn the role and be in that person's shoes to actually portray that actor or portray that character on set, on film. So like Julia Roberts did, she actually had to go visit Erin Brockovich. She actually had to ask her questions. She interviewed her. She tried to, understand her life and what she had to do. It was a story about a lawyer. She was helping a lawyer. She was an assistant of a lawyer, and she was very passionate of helping these people. And I'm not going to give away the whole storyline. It's a fantastic movie to watch. But again, even actors have to do that in real life. A lot of them actually try to imitate the person that they're portraying on set, on film. And how do they do that? They try to live their life. They ask questions, they interview them, they go through this whole process. And in doing so, when you put yourself in that person's shoes, that's empathy. That's what empathy is all about. Putting yourself in that person's shoes. So what a great way, not only with a career that someone can build over this, like Julia Roberts and many other actors, but even a student doing this and putting themselves in someone else's, in their character's shoes, in order for them to come alive.
That sense of empathy when students embody another person's experience, it's so valuable today. Whether they are playing a king, a refugee, or a kid with a secret, they are learning to walk in someone else's shoes, and that's important. I remember my grade 1 French immersion students preparing 2 French plays during the year. One play featured a character who felt invisible. Others were too busy to notice, but in the end, they revealed they were planning a surprise birthday party. What I love about children's drama is how often animals are the main characters, because through their stories, students can explore real human emotions, and they relate so easily because kids love animals. So let's talk about academics now. Drama builds serious cognitive skills. Memorizing lines improves memory. Improvising sharpens focus. And directing scenes teaches planning, structure, and pacing. Have you seen how drama boosts things like reading comprehension, critical thinking, or language learning?
Of course. I mean, you need to understand what your reading in order to act out the words and make it come to life. So this is a huge and a very important aspect of drama. So critical skills are developed because they need to know how to deliver the lines to make it believable to the audience and engage the audience so that they feel that the story is happening and it's live, it's real life. So they have to feel that they're part of that story. So in order for that to happen, you have to understand what you're reading, and you have to use your critical skills in order to make this real. And language learning ties in with this concept, because each word needs to have meaning. You need to know through drama how to deliver that word through the intonation of your voice. And it's not just about memorizing lines, but it's adding emotion to making it real for it to come to life.
Teaching plays in a different language is one of the best methods for language acquisition, I would say. When words are embedded in a story, students remember them for life. I've seen it so many times. Repetition helps the language stick like a glue. I would encourage every teacher, actually, especially those teaching French here in Canada, to incorporate plays at every grade level. There are so many resources, videos, activity books, scripts, comprehension questions. Student can draw scenes, act them out, and retell them. I remember my students and of my colleague, an amazing grade 1 French teacher, were so immersed that they'd perform plays from memory even during recess. They'd visit each other's classrooms to retell scenes. It was magical. I remember it, and it was just so beautiful to watch them. Our French department, with support from Carmelina as head, made learning French truly a joyful theatrical experience. Drama also pairs beautifully with subjects like history and social studies. If a play involves a historical figure, location, or animal, it becomes a bridge to real-world learning. Acting out scenes makes abstract ideas come alive. Don't you think so?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think that drama is definitely cross-curricular with all subjects, and it adds pizzazz and fun and student engagement. You can put drama into any subject, teaching from religion to family life to science to history, geography. You can add it, and because students learn in a different way. Not all students are successful in a paper pencil task, and we're not encouraged as educators to always do paper and pencil tasks. So to add drama, to add that pizzazz, that kick for students who are a little bit more theatrical or more artsy, this adds, students to present in a different way.
And drama also teaches crucial social skills like cooperation, timing, and communication. I remember my grade 1 students managing the entire production themselves. They changed light colors, moved scenery, dropped acorns on cue, opened and closed curtains at the right moment, and quickly transitioned to French songs while I played the piano. Every detail required coordination and timing, and they nailed it. What made it even more special was that every student got a chance to play both lead and supporting roles. How I did it? We performed the play twice and switched the cast. That built confidence tremendously like nothing else. They knew I believed in their ability to succeed in any role. Carmelina, how have you seen drama support social growth, especially for shy students?
Well, if you empower kids and allow them to explore, no matter how young, you would be very surprised what they can accomplish. So look at all the skills that they developed following instructions and cooperating with each other, putting a whole entire show, running it and being in charge of it. Each student had a responsibility. So they took ownership and pride in what they did. And this was a huge, huge accomplishment. What a boost if confidence and self-esteem.
Exactly. There's a moment of transformation on stage. I've seen the quietest students suddenly project with clarity and strength just because their character demanded it. I remember a grade 8 student, loud and funny at recess, but quiet in class. I encouraged him to use his booming voice in a performance, and students from other grades told me afterward they'd never forget his role. Sometimes all it takes is a few memorable words. Drama also builds friendships. It's inclusive. I loved watching students collaborate during rehearsals, share prep materials, and practice scenes during indoor recess. Drama creates community.
Yes, and also students taking initiative and practicing the parts together as a group. I mean, getting together at each other's homes and practicing at the same time, whether they realize it or not, it's not. It's bonding. Bonds are forming, relationships are forming, and there's strong friendships because they work together towards a common goal.
Yes. And now let's talk to parents. For parents, why should you encourage your child to try drama? Because it builds confidence. When a student steps on stage, say their line, and hears applause, it changes them. Carmelina, can you talk about how even simple performances boost self-esteem?
Um, Being on stage is something that is very it's difficult for children, and when a child goes on stage, I look at them and I say to them, I said, you're being brave and you're being courageous. It takes a lot of guts to be on stage in front of a whole audience, and so that alone boosts their self-esteem. And when they know that they have the support behind them, like their educators, they get that clap at the end, the audience goes crazy and claps for them. That's what a sense of accomplishment. So this is a big thing. And and for parents to encourage that and say, hey, you did great and everything. So just imagine the feel that they get. I mean, it's a beautiful feeling. And this type of thing spills into public speaking. So the same thing, they're all scared going in front of a whole audience and how to project their voice. So when you're guiding children and teaching them the skills, even in public speaking, I would make students like stand at the back of the class and I'm outside in the hallway, and I would say, no, I can't hear you. You got to raise your voice. You got to engage them. You got to engage the audience. You got to look at the audience. This is a life skill, and it's just not a life skill for public speaking or being on stage and delivering a theatrical play, but it's also life skills that for a job interview or for a job presentation, if you have to present your or for marketing, present it in front of your colleagues. This develops these types of skills that we teach them at a young age. These are skills that continue to be fostered and nurtured, that can develop into something that they use for jobs. I mean, as an educator, an administrator now, even when I present in front of my teachers and I'm doing a staff meeting, you have to feel confident knowing what you're talking about. These skills I've developed when I was young comes with me as an adult. It spills into anything. I mean, look at the people that work at even coffee shops or Starbucks or Tim Hortons. They have to feel confident to say, hi, how are you? How's it, what can I get you? You need to develop these skills. And these are skills that are developed, whether parents realize it or not, from drama, from public speaking, from these types of presentations that you encourage in the classroom. These are the skills that are brought with you throughout life.
Exactly. That confidence spills into daily life, like presentations, interviews, social interactions. I remember academic conferences 25 years ago, brilliant content, but often delivered in monotone. Today, with microphones and theatrical techniques, voices are full of expression. It's the opposite shift from early Shakespearean acting. Now, it's researchers using drama to engage audiences. The takeaway: drama helps students become compelling speakers. That translates to school presentations, future careers, and personal expression. So let's talk about emotional regulation and mental health now. Drama also supports mental health. It gives students tools to identify, express, and regulate emotions. Carmelina, have you worked with students with ADHD, anxiety, or an autism spectrum? How does drama help?
Well, very good question, Susanna. This it can be very challenging, but it's not impossible. So when you're dealing with students that have anxiety or they're on the spectrum, you have to your teaching style has to be different. So like I said before, not every student learns the same way. So if you're dealing with a child who has anxiety, working in a small group or individually is the way to go. And then taking them under your wing and then showing them, maybe as a modeling to them, say it this way, watch me, and then have them repeat it. And then maybe then have two or three people sitting as an audience and then having them do it. Then you expand it to like maybe 5 or 10 students and then have them do it. Or once what I did also, which was a really cool technique, and it's not that I didn't read it anywhere. I just thought about it on the spot because I thought, how am I going to help these kids who have severe anxiety, who cannot do, let's say, public speaking or do their speech in front of the class? So what I did is I made the whole class turn around and face the wall. So their back was towards that student who was presenting. So when that student was presenting, he or she did not see faces or smirks or eyes staring at them. They were watching everyone's back. Okay, that person was watching everyone's back. So that's what they saw. So that already you can see the level of anxiety decrease. And the only person that they really saw was me. So they were used to me because they already were practicing with me on one-on-one. So doing that kind of strategy really helped. And you want to make them feel that they still can do it. You want to make them feel that they have that chance, that opportunity, and for them to be inclusive in all the activities. So if that means I sort of change the way I have the audience, them present to an audience, then that's what I'm going to do to make them feel successful, to make them feel that they can do, they have an opportunity to make them feel confident, to boost their self-esteem. At the end of the day, as an educator, you got to do whatever it takes to help that child feel and be successful.
I like that. That's wonderful, Carmelina. Now, let's talk about academic support. Drama can also re-engage students who struggle with traditional academics. Some students don't connect with textbooks, but give them a script and they light up. Carmelina, do you have a story of a student who discovered their passion through drama?
Actually, Susanna, I do. I have tons of stories, but this one here stuck in my mind when you asked me this question. And when I was teaching grade 1 French immersion for the very first time, I had the student brilliant student, because then I taught her back in grade 8. So I had the student in grade 1 and grade 2, then in and then in grade 7. But I remember specifically in grade 1, she was the type of student that she was falling asleep in class. She was bored, and and she was always crying for her mommy, and she misses her mommy, and she wanted to go home. And I thought, for a child this young to be bored, she must be like, there's got to be something that I can connect with her, something that to engage her. I mean, I found out later when I taught her in grade 7 that she was actually gifted. But at that time in grade 1, it was just like, how do I make this student like feel part of the class? So, I mean, what I did is when I introduced drama, and I thought, okay, let me bring in drama. Not only was drama taught as a subject, but I sort of intertwined it in a lot of my subjects. When that happened, oh yeah, she lit up. She wanted to be part. I want to do that. I want to do that character, and I want to do that character. Well, you can't be all the characters, but she all of a sudden, this whole new person came out. This whole, and then I saw engagement, and I saw her wanting to be part of it, and then all of a sudden she changed the script, and she wanted to add this. Like, it was incredible. She just wanted to take over the whole script and just be the characters, but change the storyline, add to the storyline. It was amazing to watch. Really amazing.
That's a wonderful story. I really think drama can change a lot for every child and can help a lot. Now we will be talking about a brief history of drama in education. Drama has been a tool for learning for thousands of years, from Greek tragedies to African storytelling circles. Performance has always helped us teach, heal, and connect. Storytelling is the foundation of the arts. Drama, music, dance, and visual art all stem from it. Every culture preserves stories. Oral storytelling allows tone, expression, and meaning to evolve. In Shakespeare's time, only men acted, even female roles. Thankfully, today, anyone can be an actor. How do you see modern drama education carrying that legacy forward?
Well, for example, this year at my school, we did the Shrek musical.
Wow.
And you saw a transformation of the students, and the parents were in awe. And can I tell you, when we sat down, and I sat down with my teachers, and I wanted to see how the auditions were, and I thought, oh my gosh, who is she going to pick? They were all like, you're kind of like, oh no, like, how is she going to pull this off? She worked hard with all these students, and she had a great team. The team that at my school is just phenomenal. And we had kids in different roles. And how you talked about Shakespeare, and the men did some of the female roles. Well, we have roles that could have been played by female, but we had the boys do it. Or roles that could have been played in Shrek that the boys could have done it, but we placed the girls in it. So this works in modern drama because at the end of the day, you're a character. It's not regardless whether you're the girl part or the boy part, or the female role, the male role. It's the character that you're portraying on stage. So this is a transformation in its own. So you still have, even today, actors that would play a different role. Like, you get some actors that may play a completely role outside of their comfort zone, and it's a learning curve. But the most important thing is you got to put yourself in that character's shoes. So it happens, like, even though it happened many centuries ago and during Shakespeare's time, it still happens today. So you have to keep in your mind that you are playing a character. You are that character. You are that person. You need to believe that you are that person. And then it will come to life. So even those kids that played the different roles, whether they're playing Shrek, you have to come to life. You're this ogre. You're not an ogre in real life, obviously, but you are playing the character of an ogre. So you need to believe you are that ogre. And you are whatever character you're playing in the Shrek. And Shrek is a great musical for kids to be part of because they get to be characters that that are out of the ordinary, like the fairy tale characters, Pinocchio, the Three Little Pigs. You get, the donkey, animals. One part you said in the beginning of our podcast about how animals is a huge component in drama for kids. They love playing those characters, right? So this type of thing, this transformation of just transforming yourself as whoever you are. You're Carmelina, but you're transforming yourself now playing the donkey or playing Shrek or playing Fiona. So when parents see this on stage, can I tell you, Zuzanna, that night we had 2 performances in the evening on a different night, back to back. Each performance, those parents that came out were like, oh my goodness. They were in awe. Can I tell you? Awe with capital letters, AWE. It was just, you felt that you were on a Broadway show. They couldn't believe that was their child on stage. Couldn't believe it. It's like, it can't be. Like, so to have that kind of transformation happen, first of all, needs great coaches, great drama coaches, but the type of drama coach, not to say, hey, this is how you say your line, a drama coach that helps that student feel inspired, boost their self-confidence, their self-esteem. You can do it. That other stuff, anybody can say, okay, this is how you say your line. Make your voice change this way. But a coach who takes that extra mile and actually inspires and gives that child the boost that they need for self-confidence, that's what makes the big difference. That's the transformation. And that's what you see on stage. And that's where the parents are like in tears because they can't believe that that's their child on stage who's actually playing that character. And that is the type of educator that you need, or the type of drama coach that you need to make the difference of that transformation from that child to that character.
That's right. From Shrek to Inside Out, drama is shaping definitely how we see the world. Why do you think drama resonates so deeply across cultures and generations?
Very good question. Why do I think drama resonates so deeply across cultures and generations? I think it's because everyone has a story to share. We think about acting on stage that it's just acting, but there's a lot that goes on behind the stage, and then the creation of the story appears on the stage. It happens on the stage. The students that create the story actually have a voice, and it's having that voice being heard that makes the difference. And you can have stories that are being told through culture, through generation upon generation, that it's being passed down. Drama resonates deeply across cultures and generations because that's what it is. These are stories being told. And so I think that's the important piece here. Stories have always a cultural component. Stories have, being told, like even around a campfire, that are being told, whether it's a scary story or whether it's the story that was told from their parents to themselves, and now they're being brought down to their children and they tell it to their friends. So that's what I think why drama, it resonates so deeply with pop culture.
Yes, and I would say in general, everyone likes stories and everyone likes to listen to the stories. So let's see now, let's summarize what we have learned today. Drama is more than entertainment, right? It's a powerful tool for emotional expression, empathy and connection, academic growth, confidence and communication. And even if students never become actors, the skills they gain stay with them for life. To every student, your voice matters. Your story matters. Drama gives you the space to tell it. To every parent, drama might just be the key to unlocking your child's imagination and confidence. So, if today's episode inspired you to try drama, do it. Join a class, read a monologue, make a scene. And remember, whether you are center stage or behind the scenes, the arts aren't just subjects, they are life skills. Thanks for listening to Arts for You. Next time, we'll be painting the town with visual arts and exploring how creativity sharpens the mind and feeds the soul.
And don't forget, arts for you.